So this is Bill and Greg talking. Hopefully you can hear me. For some reason, Sarah's name pops up on there. This is, we're going to run through, this is a thought exercise. Actually, I'm just going to jump into the PowerPoint because I kind of explained it inside there, thinking that maybe just in case somebody who watches this down the road is going to ask this exact same question, which is, what is this? So if we want to talk about 3 radically different campaigns, I gave myself all sorts of rules in here, Bill. So Bill doesn't know what's coming, and I barely know what's coming. But the origin story on this is we got 2 calls back to back. So this was, so thinking back to last week when I was talking to 2 different companies, and inside those companies, there was, it was obvious 2 radically different budgets, because one was that venture capital backed company, and the other one was the lady who was in her car driving between appointments for the cleaning company, right? So, but they both had the same objective. They were both saying, we need more leads. We want more people to get in touch with us. So then the thought exercise became this, right? What do we do? What happens if we have 3 really different budgets? And what is it that we would do? And so we picked 500, 5,000, 50,000. If you have questions, by all means, use the chat box. Sarah is going to monitor that for us. And if we miss your questions, Sarah will gently remind us to. She can run in the room and gently remind us to answer the questions. But the parameters, so I had to draw some parameters, because as I started thinking about it, I was like, I got to come up with a business. So I thought of another business that we talked to, regional injection molder. And the business has basically, there's a couple executives, there's a few people in accounting, right, running the numbers. Yep. There's a marketer, there's 3 salespeople. The marketer kind of doubles as inside sales. She handles a lot of other things too, a jack of all trades. And then there's a bunch of people in the on the floor in the warehouse doing the running the heavy machinery or pushing boxes around. Okay. So thinking of that company, and what they need, because what they were looking for was filler projects. So they're like, we have a couple of our big customers, and you can think of, you know who the biggest one is. Once a year, we make all our money on this one customer with these injection molded containers. But we have a lot of need for filler projects, which can be anything, right? That can be injection molded, from toilet paper hangers to little fishing worm containers. So their sales cycle is longer too, 90+ days. So the thought is okay, Greg, what could your team do if I had these 3 budgets? We have an extra $500 in the budget. What do I do? We have an extra 5,000. We have an extra 50,000.
Gotcha.
And we have 90 days basically to work through the project. So with those ideas,
$500 a month.
Nope, it's just $500.
$500 total.
Like,
okay.
So that's this guy. So let's start there.
Right.
This guy's like, I only got $500, and I'm not really excited about giving you $500, but I need more leads. What do? You're right. So I say to myself, oh, I'm a smart guy. I should be able to figure this out. I'm moving this thing around. So, by the way, that's when I look at the camera that way, is when it's my bifocals. I feel like an old man. So the first thing I do is I head to the grid. Do you remember which grid I talked about?
Okay.
So this is my grid that I refer to all the time, which is who are we targeting when we say growth? Where is the growth going to come from? Is it existing customers, existing products? We need to sell more to the people that already know us.
Right.
Is it, or is it on the other end of the spectrum? Is it now we got a brand new product, a new idea, and we want to bring in people that don't know us? Right. Okay. 2 different problems. One's a little more startup-y. One's a lot more established and maybe digs into a business. So these guys, when I think of fast revenue, so 90 days, so we want to generate some quick stuff, I go to existing.
Totally. Yep.
Right. I get it. So I'm headed right there. And the first thing I want to start with is we have internal lists. A lot of us have a lot of internal lists. Let's get them together. Let's get finances lists together. Let's get sales lists together. Let's get all of our lists together, and let's start to profile them. So how do we profile them? For most people, it's A, B, C, D, right? By revenue is probably a good chance. But also, it would be good if maybe we could at least build that grid out a little bit on like penetration of products and services. So some people buy a lot of our stuff. Some people buy hardly any of our stuff, right?
Right.
And so can we start to at least build a little grid and put people into, they may be A on revenue, but are they A on penetration?
Yeah.
Right. And let's build a little recency frequency type grid on there. And then let's do the first thing I want is to ID the lookalikes in the list. So who are the people who have low revenue
Oh, okay.
that look like our other customers?
With higher revenue.
With higher revenue. Yeah. So I probably described that first part wrong. Inside the profiling, I also want to look at demographics.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So if our best customer is 100 employees and, is involved in another form of manufacturing, how many other manufacturers do we have with over 100 employees, and where is the gap in that list? So we're trying to find all those lookalikes because they exist. And then the trick, if I only have $500, I really don't have any money to play with. So what is my quick lead generation technique? It's phones, it's live surveys. So talking to people who already know us, and I'm going to ask them a set of questions, a particular set of questions, because I'm going to try to use it to generate new leads, to generate new revenue.
Right.
So can you guess what that is based on our years of doing this?
So you're going to, a third party's going to do it, or the reps are going to?
Well, yeah, the rep, I mean, the company. We're
right.
doing it in-house.
Okay.
We're going to do this whole thing in-house. And basically, I'm going to take my whole list. I'm going to try to put it all together. And the list is going to be too big for us to just call through.
Right.
So that's why I use the lookalikes and try to ID. I'm going to try to like at least rank the list into, we should contact these people before we contact these people. Contact the A's before we contact the D's. And when we contact them, what are we going to be saying? I am not saying that we are going to say, hey, it's Greg. We noticed that we haven't talked to you in a while, and we want to get back in and talk to you because we have some new things, blah, blah, blah. Right. I'm not going to try to sell them anything.
Yeah.
From a lead generation standpoint, what we're going to do is do a survey.
Okay.
And testimonials is a great way to do surveys.
Okay.
So this is a mix on there, and the way that I mix it is I ask two types of questions, which is, one is if you could, let's talk about your situation, describe your situation before you started working with us. So if you can go back that far, what was life like before?
Okay.
Right. And I'm listening very carefully. In a perfect world, I'm recording the call. I'm doing something to where I can like transcribe it, because I'm looking for words in there, which we'll use later on. And then found is right. So this is described before, then you started working with us. What is it you like about us? And then the found questions are, and what have you found that you didn't know on the front end? So if we tried to recreate, like you came in here with certain expectations, we were working together for 10 years. What have you found that you didn't know that you wish you knew? Kind of question. And what that does, those do two things for us. One is it kind of helps us describe going forward who it is we're looking for, because our customers that were in the before condition, our future customers are probably in that same before condition. And the found part is, those are the things that we, in general, it's, and then I found that like, wow, your customer service was really good. And you think, oh, we talked about that from the very beginning, but there's something missing that we're not doing a good enough job of describing it. And that's why.
Right.
And so those become opportunities for selling.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
So we do this before and after found. There we go. Trying to leverage the relationship. We can talk to these people because they pay us money. And so they should be willing to share some information. So that's basically the how we generate the leads on there. What do the leads look like when they come out of it? Generally, when you're asking these questions, the first pass through, the first leads that you're going to find are going to be, oh, by the way, Bill, it's good that you call, because we happen to have, another need, or we bought a new company, or,
and we'll just fall into something.
You're going to fall into something.
Yeah.
Oh, you should talk to somebody else, right? You could probably fit. Do you know anybody else that we should be talking to in there? That's what this type of activity is like. You can't do it constantly, always. You can do parts of it. You should be doing parts of it all the time. But if you're trying to if we were doing a sales blitz and we're trying to get this going, and Greg, we need more leads to call on, this is how I'm going to make sure that my salespeople, they're already busy, right? And they're going to find their own revenue.
Yeah.
This is how I find a few more things for them to follow up on.
Right.
Because I'll be able to go through and say, This is somebody who looks like this. Bill looks like this. We haven't penetrated him. And oh, by the way, everybody else who's bought this product, these are the things that they said beforehand.
Yeah.
Right. So we become powerful that way. That makes sense?
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's a lot of elbow grease. You got to dig in there. I don't know that there's any super secret. If I had to come up with a secret, it's like use surveys. Most people don't do enough of them. And people are used to the word testimonial. Right? They usually are willing to talk to us and work their way through it.
And you're right. You can only really do it once, because then they'll say, well, we just did this, right? I mean, we just.
Well, and your people say that too. Your
right.
People are like, I'm not going to call that guy again. It gets to be a pain in the butt. So you can do campaigns that one way. And actually, all of these kind of represent versions of like a push. Yeah. Because I felt like that was the object of the exercise. Right. Was let's do a push as opposed to the, oh, we've got $500 a month. Like, what's the best use of that? There's a million answers to that. This is a little bit more, right? This is why all the cake shows, the Great American Baking or Great British Baking Show, time limits. So 90 days is our time. All right. It makes for more exciting television as well as webinars. Okay, now we jump up though. This time you gave me $5,000 and I'm starting to get excited, but not too excited because $5,000, I'm like, well, what is everybody else going to do? Because I'm going to take that. But I still head back to the grid. But this time, in addition to the profile and survey, because I still have that tool at my disposal, is what I'm guessing, right? Okay, so these are, we're starting at 0 with all 3 of these scenarios. I have that profile survey, but I'm going to use it a little bit differently going forward. I'll still use it for the exact same thing. Reps are going to blitz. I'm going to help with the blitz. I'm going to add extra leads through there. We're going to get that from existing. But then we're going to break out into these other quadrants, right? Which is the new products to existing customers or existing products to new customers. I fall, in this case, towards this. I'm guessing we don't have anything new in the...
To existing customers?
No, injection molding is just kind of a...
Right.
There's only so many things we can do. There's only so many things we can add. So we're going to go after selling existing products to customers that don't know who we are. And I'm going to use postcards. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop $300 on postcards to existing customers asking for referrals. So in addition to my phone survey, I'm also going to say, oh, by the way, if there's anybody else we need to talk to, let us know. They may uncover some people, and it's just a nice touch because we're going to be touching the new people a bit more. I'm also going to jump into AdWords at this point. So as part of that survey, if you remember, I said, describe your situation before you got to us. In that situation, those words that they use are a lot of the same words that they will search by when they have that problem. And so $500 a month is a good start for trying to figure out when people are looking for that to solve that particular problem in my area, right? This is a regional manufacturer. So if I say that this is a guy from Omaha, so if he's, what's below us? Kansas, Missouri, on up to the Dakotas, he's kind of through the middle here. That we can use AdWords in there. We can use AdWords towards these problems. We can use the testimonials that we got on the other end, which is, yeah, you guys do a good job, right? Rewrite those as testimonials, stick them up on the website, because all the activity that we do from here on out, people will come to the website more likely than they will go to our reps.
Right.
Is my guess.
Right.
Especially if I'm just
create landing pages specific to those keywords.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So we got to do some internal work, right? We got to create some landing pages. We got to create campaigns. We got to, take the transcripts of those surveys and tease out all the words that we're going to be pulling out from there. And then we're going to get those testimonials on the site, which is different than the last one because selling existing products to existing customers. Yeah, some of them will come to the site. Eventually we need to get it up there, but not inside the first 90 days. In this case, inside, right? I want to get the survey done inside the first couple of weeks. And then I would love to get those testimonials up on the site before the new postcards hit, because what we're going to do is we're going to take our profiled list, right? The
lookalikes?
So our profile, we're going to find our lookalikes,
right?
And then we're going to go out to these third-party lists like GoLeads, US Farm Data, right? And I'm going to find the rhyming third-party lists. How that? So one is lookalikes, like what are my lookalikes inside? And these are really lookalikes in outside databases. But what I want to find are people that look, sound a lot like the same customers that I have.
Gotcha.
With the caveat, right? So one thing is Bill would probably look at that and say, well, $300 is not a very big list. It's not a big list, but I only have 3 salespeople. And for the work that I'm about to do, I have 3 salespeople, 1 inside salesperson, and maybe an executive who might get a little interested in the rest of this project, but not much. With the executives, I'm going to go up and I'm going to say, we need to earn new business. So these are people who we haven't done business with. We've got a lot of testimonials from people that we do business with that we're going to share with them so they can trust that we know how to do the work. They just don't know that to do the work with us. So we need to earn their new business a little bit with a new offer.
Perfect. Yep.
Right?
Right.
So we're going to take some of our sunk costs. We're going to take less margin on some sort of introductory offer. And what's that going to be? We're going to take that and I want to stick that on 250 postcards. So the list I'm looking for is about 250 of people who rhyme with my better customers in there. To drop that is another $300. And Sarah can confirm with me whether or not that's true. I used overnightprints.com to estimate. It looked pretty good.
Nice little shout out for overnight.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, they should pay me a commission because you guys are all going to run out and buy more postcards. And then we're going to drop these postcards out and wait about 10 days and have a call day event. So what is a call day event?
Explain that.
That's where I trick you all into helping me call all these people. With 4 people, 250, that's about 80 calls. And with the script, most of these are going to go to voicemail. It's nice that, so we do these blitzes. I don't know if you guys raise money for anybody, but every once in a while you got to sell these raffle tickets.
Sure.
The best way to sell raffle tickets is get everybody together, promise them that there's some reward at the end, beer, and split up the list. And hey, everybody, kind of turn around to your corner and call your list. And the list, this is exactly what you're going to say. Most of the time for these calls, it's going to be voicemail. So what does the voicemail say that's going to match what the postcards said? So we're going to try to use inside of 90 days as much repetition as possible on these new customers. We're already doing some things with the existing customers, which will generate some activity, but we're going to stick to this. We're going to run through this call event. And then after we finish the call event, so what is the call event generates a few pieces of activity, but again, a ton of voicemails, like 90% will probably be voicemails. So it's really good to get that script down, that 20-second, this is the voicemail that matches the postcard, because we're going to drop another postcard. These don't, this is happening over 45, almost 60, 90, 70, 80 of the 90 days, right? We're trying to generate something before the end of the month, but this is all going to be going out. We're going to drop that same postcard. It's the exact same postcard. So Sarah, you only need to design it once, twice. And that's where I get the $600 there. And as I went through this, the first thing I thought is the most common objection. Well, A, we haven't spent all $5,000 at this point.
No.
If I'm inside the in-house, we still have $1,500 left over. What are we going to do with that? Well, most objections at this point is, well, we're already busy. Who has the time to do this? With a plan like this in place, let's go grab an intern and actually pay them.
Okay.
So Elizabeth Mattern.
Right.
I'm going to describe what we're after here, these outcomes, new leads, this and that. And then here's all the elements that we want you to work on. And you need to manage this project all the way through.
Right.
And we're going to pay you money. So it isn't like a free internship.
And we've done that.
We've done this. Yeah.
Right.
That's
and
just it. The best thing about working with interns is they do exactly what you say. The worst part about working with interns is you have to tell them exactly what to do. Yeah. So with this in place, I'm pretty confident we can come up with an instruction sheet for an intern to manage this process and make sure that we stay on target, right? I just built one of these for somebody last night. Just a few markers, like by this day, this probably should have happened. By this day, it probably should have happened. Most things will drag on, so that's why we try to shoot for that. Can we get it done in 70 days? Can we get it done in 60 days? Because 90 days is going to happen naturally on that. And then $300, because if you're really good at math, you know there's still money left over. And the money left over is going to be a data party. So I'm a big believer in parties. This is a small company. These guys should have a lot more parties than they probably have. And inside that party, that's just where we get back together and share all the data about what has happened. Because the value at $500, all you can really do is maybe kickstart off more lead generation.
Okay.
Like, let's get things going because we're going to take that money and reinvest it in more lead generation. Let's get some new sales. Bill's going to go on vacation, so we need to get more sales so that Bill can just pay for this out of cash flow.
Right.
The $5,000, we can start really thinking about, like, we could set a marker for the future. We want to generate some immediate cash flow,
right?
But we also want to do some things that are going to help us in the future, especially with these new customers, because it's going to take them a while, right? The rule of 30, we got to do a lot of touches before we're going to get through. But if armed with the information about what people's state was before from our current customers, all the lookalikes, people that, you know, we probably should be doing business with, and this type of follow-up, we're in a good position for the next round of follow-up. And it would be great to improve on these numbers because we can almost repeat this again.
Totally. I mean, if you can extrapolate, if it can work and you can extrapolate it to the next 90, to the next 90. We spent 5,000, we got 6 leads, we closed 2, whatever the case may be.
Right. Or we closed none. Or, I mean, I'm not saying that we set the world on fire on this, right? But it's like, did we close one? I don't know, but we got some things in the hopper, which is what we were missing. Yeah. Generally, that's the before conversation for an exercise like this is we need more leads, right? Our before condition is we need more. We're getting more. Are they the best? No, we got 6. Is that all that came in? No, we actually got like 18, but 12 of them were junk. Right. The data party is, why were they junk? Like, what was bad about them? Because we thought we set it up correctly. A, we couldn't do it. B, you know, like, what were all the reasons? And were there anything that we could do and we can control on the marketing side for the next round, for the next $5,000?
And sometimes that data party A doesn't happen, or and the salespeople will just suppress, oh, these are all bad, and not get information back to the marketers, right? You know, to make that, okay, let's, there were 6 really good ones, but the next time we do it, we think we can extrapolate the really good ones into making it 10 really good ones.
Shoot. Right? Well, and we've talked about this before, 'cause I would be happy to take the 18 down to 10. Right. Like, we'll give you 10 leads, of which 6 will be good. Yeah. Feels way different than 18, 6, or worse, 66. Right. Yeah, we had 60 people call in, but man, I don't have time to cycle through 54 bad leads to find the 6, because then I'm like a TSA agent. I'm looking for the one random person out of 10 years who comes through here looking to do bad. So it's always better to give leads that are close to, like, they should have high close rates in order to be followed up on. Yeah. And then you can slowly create a little separation. Yeah. Give them worse leads as you go along, but it's always best to try to tighten it up at the beginning. So that's what the data party is. Okay. Okay, what if you don't want to do any of this stuff internally? I just want to outsource the whole thing. Okay. I would then take $5,000. I'd still ask for these pieces and try to describe them as best I can. But I'd go to a third party and say, I'm willing to pay you $2,000 to do this. Who is this third party? Upwork. It's just like an intern, except for maybe somebody who has a lot more experience and they're looking for work. We are hiring right now, and the number of people who, even though we're at this awesome low employment number, the number of people, the high quality candidates that we're getting are good. There's good people out there, and a lot of these people could actually handle a project like this, is what I'm thinking. So this is kind of where I'm at in my mind. But I would kind of budget that way. I'd say, like, you know, I have $3,000. How much of this, how close can I get to that? And oh, by the way, in your pocket goes $2,000 for the work that you're going to do over these next couple months, which is kind of part-time. It's a lot of setting things up, setting them out, mailing, as Sarah would know. It's a little bit of back and forth and then wait. And then did it go out? A little bit back and forth, then wait. And did it go out? Yeah. My takeaway from this is, gosh, what we hear so often is, I have $5,000 to spend and I'm going to silo it. I'm going to just do it. I want to do one thing. You know, because too many times we get it, you know, will email work? Will email do? We'll do it. We'll, you know, I hear Facebook. Well, I hear AdWords. Can I just put it all into Facebook? We want that one thing to work, when in fact, it's multiple things that have to work together. I mean, it's direct. It's even direct mail. It's Facebook. So I'll push back on this just a little bit, because I would say if I have it per month, I may do the one thing. Oh, but we don't. It's 5. It's like in this case, we're trying to generate a lot. I want to do a lot of touches. Right. But if it's $5,000 a month for the year,
Oh, that's the next.
then I may just do AdWords. Like I could make a case for doing just one thing.
All right.
So just
Interesting.
Bill may disagree. We can disagree. Okay. Now we got $50,000. So we're riverboat gamblers. We're just gonna throw this out. We haven't been doing anything with marketing, but I watched this webinar and I'm ready. I'm ready to write the check. 50 grand. You got 90 days. I want leads, and oh, by the way, I want my 50 grand back.
Right.
Right. Like I
Right.
want, like now I'm at 5 grand. I know it's a cost of doing business. At 50 grand,
I better
me,
make money.
Yeah, show me the ROI on this.
Right.
And so approaching this, we're going to do something a little different, right? So it's not just more. I don't want to just like double up on everything we've been doing.
Right.
But at the same time, I should be able to do everything that I've done in that same time period.
You want to live in all 4 quadrants.
I'm going to live in all 4 quadrants, but I'm going to change the game a little bit. Instead of us reaching out, I got to try to get these people in. So I want to get as many target buyers as I can in one place, mingling with my customers.
Okay.
So
Okay.
private events, maybe it's speaker, come meet, we're in Nebraska, come meet Tom Osborne and us, right? This is the type of event I'm thinking of, something that will drag people through the door. Okay, you with me?
Yes.
So inside of that profiling, one of the things we can do is you can look at where your people are clustered. And if you work throughout the region, like in this guy's case, he has a couple clusters, right? There's Kansas City, there's Des Moines, there's Omaha.
Right.
You can pick where a cluster of your best customers are that are willing to come along the ride with you, right? You don't want an event where there's 10 people there and they're all your customers, or where there are 10 people, 8 people are your customers and 2 people are prospects. What you want is this 1-to-5 ratio. The reason is because, well, you're all going to be there talking about your company. It's really nice to have a couple people who are like, oh, these guys have changed my life. These guys have, insert whatever. And why would they ever say that? They'll probably say it because you did a survey, you asked for a testimonial, you put them on the website, and you may have even put them on the business card. So the raise awareness campaign that we just talked about, right, among strangers, we're doing that. So we're spending that $5K. But we're also this time going to invest in somebody who does events, planning. So we've got across our parking lot here is Planet Omaha. They do events. I don't know if it would be them, but certainly somebody, because when they look at how they do things, if you drew this out as a Venn diagram, you'd say, like, how good is your list? At this point, we've, if based on our first project, we've got a decent,
We should be pretty good.
I would think it's a pretty good list because it includes our customers. It's not just strangers.
Right.
And then what is the topic? This we need to sit down and come up with, because this goes back to what you're big on, which is educate and inspire.
Yeah.
This is not a please come here, meet Tom Osborne and get sold. This is please come here, meet Tom Osborne and get your picture taken with the guy. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to teach you something that you did not know about either something directly related to the business or something nearby.
Very good.
Right?
Yep.
So venue is the secret ingredient in all of this. So if I had to, if I'm giving secret sauce, the first one, it's the survey. The second one, it's the gathering the data at the end. The third one, it's this venue piece. The more interesting you can make the venue, the more likely you get strangers to come aboard. It isn't the only thing, but people have been known to drive south or fly south for an event during the winter, for instance, especially if you're trying to do it with a group, right? But the first thing when anybody gets any of these invites or when they start to get calls is they think, who else is going to be there?
Sure.
Who else is it? So that's where you need to look to your list. Inside your list or inside your world, there's got to be some interesting people who would be interesting to them. So again, we're thinking about the people that we don't know. Who might they be interested in coming to meet? Any sort of media star, industry media star, pieces like this. And I'll get to what we can do. Because with $50,000, you can stretch things out a little bit, right? The big trick in there is who else is there is if the more you can do to limit it to a single buyer profile, the better it is. It's only going to be VP marketing and above. It's only going to be CEOs. And you will be networking with your peers. Nobody believes it because they think, nah, it's going to be attorneys and insurance agents and everybody, you got to fight hard. Like your people, it is, can I send my assistant? Absolutely not. It is for CEOs only type
there
of
still
event.
is an outcome where that is the lead. That is growing the business, right? This isn't just a party.
No.
Right. I mean, it is a party, but there still is an outcome that we are trying to get.
We're just trying to make it very beneficial to them.
Right.
And networking with your peers, most business owners would say the one thing that I have a problem with is network with my peers, right? Vistage groups exist for this reason. Because I just don't have anybody to talk to. Right? And so we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to educate and inspire, as I said. And this whole event is really more geared towards follow-up. We're trying to identify the biggest opportunities. They have a tendency to bubble up, but every time we take the time, this one takes the most time, like effort to get off the ground. But every time we do one, it works. It works well, but only because we're following up. It never works the moment of. There's like usually right. It's like if I can get one hand raiser who's like, oh, can you guys tell me a little bit about what you're doing at an event like this? That's like a bonus. Most of them are going to come with, the conversation you teach your reps is, hey, this isn't the time or place to talk about this, but would you be open to a separate conversation where, you explain what you're trying to get done and I'll explain how we might be able to help you. We'll see if there's a little synergy there, but it's not here. But if you're open to that conversation, expect a call. Right. Yep. So it's language like that that you're focused on. Using outside people, I would suggest a success fee. Okay. And the success fee is not going to be based on getting your $50,000 back, but base it on these numbers. If you can get to an event like this, if I could get 20 people with a 1-to-5 ratio, so that's 4 of my customers hobnobbing with, 16 people I don't know and my staff, and we're around a particular topic that I'm getting credit for at a place that I'm getting credit for. There's business in there, and it's fast business and probably bigger business than we bump into through any other channel because we move in at a different level. Okay. So I would even encourage that if you challenge this person to, with a limited budget, find speakers, right? Between the speaker, the venue, and the stuff that you get at it by going to a meeting like this, you'd be surprised how far the money could go. I was at an event where I was asked to speak, and so I didn't want to do it. So I just kept raising my price as to what I would charge to go out there. So, I get
nice.
I get the trip, I get the this, I get that, I get a little scratch to float around Philadelphia. The number of people who were there as you meet all the speakers, the number of people who did it like out of their pocket and paid for it, I was like, you guys are crazy. Because the audiences at these association events are rarely the people that you're really trying to work with. Right. That being said, if you could put together an audience like this, those people, who knows what they would do? They may bring books. They may bring other speakers and try to wow everybody. Just remind them they can't sell off the stage, but a lot of good things can happen. Venues, I find venues, we get a lot of help from them too. Okay, does that make sense? Sorry, I get distracted down here. So that's really it. So there is the thought exercise I do. I was aiming for 30 minutes. I got through it in 35. The grid is a big piece of this whole thing, right? And the trick in all of them is going to be measurement so that we can reinvest in the next campaign. The first $500, the only way to approach that is I'd say, I'm doing this because I'm just trying to generate some cash for the next stage. Hopefully something close to $5,000 that I can invest in a campaign that actually pays for itself. And then $50,000, I'm actually, by then I'm very interested in the focus and the follow-up, right? Those people that showed up, the 16 people, and then what else you get is all the people you invited when you send them the notes from the show. There's a lot of interest that comes there. Sure. People get event, what is that? The FOMO, they get the fear of missing, right? It's like, oh, I wasn't there. No, I took a few pictures, I put them on the thing, I sent you here's the visuals that the speaker was using, and here's all the pictures. Oh, well, remind me for the next one. I'm ready for the next one. Okay, great. But let's talk about your business. Let's talk about what it is you're working on now, is where that comes from. Because we're after that mythical one-to-one, right? Especially on that $50,000. If I can generate $50,000 in sales / close rate. So $200,000 in opportunities, $50,000 in sales.
And that's not even taking into account lifetime value.
No.
Right. I mean,
Well,
so that's a one-to-one within a, I don't know,
That is
270 day, whatever.
Well, I mean, that's
300
just it. In this case, we're shooting for that 180 days. Like if I build this up over 90 days, we get those leads and your sales cycle is 90 days. I'm looking for, that's a 6 month. I should see at least 1-to-1. I take that back. If I get 1-to-1, it's a total bonus because it's going to continue to pay. If I get 50 cents to $1, there's promise.
Totally.
If I get 0-to-1, I've really got to look at those numbers, right? And that's where all that measurement comes in, because you need to convince yourself that it's actually working before you get going again.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's just turned off is what we find out.
Right.
Like it's, you know what, that was dumb.
Just coming back from trade
That
show.
didn't work. Coming back from trade show. You just got back from one.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, just, do I see something in the first 180 days? Maybe. Definitely we'll get something in the, will it be 1-to-1? We'll see, but I know it will, the lifetime value will, it's worth going to this show.
Sure.
I can already.
One of your top 3 customers came from a cab ride at a trade show.
Right.
So the big joke in sales, right, is it better to be good or better to be there?
Yeah.
Always better to be there.
Yeah.
What this does is, instead of spending so much time and effort to get everybody out in front of customers, let's bring them in. That's what I say with the $50,000. $5,000, maybe you still need to rely on the regular sales force. So that's it. I don't know if anybody has any questions, or if this was helpful. I'll bring the chat room up a little bit more, because right now it looks like there's no questions. So what now, right? This is the end part where people are like, yeah, it all sounds great. I don't have 500 or 5,000 or 50,000. Like, what am I supposed to do? How would I do this? The big takeaway is I find this is a good grid for starting discussions about any of these projects.
Yeah, and I think even existing customers, even if you don't have existing customers, just talk to people you know.
Good point.
Right? I mean, you may be starting out, and if you don't have existing customers, go talk to somebody. Go talk to somebody in the industry. Go talk to and get guidance, get an idea, get a feel, whatever that may be. It's just every conversation is a good conversation. So,
amen.
Yeah.
So right now, always start with the grid. We love profiling if you have customers. Even if you don't have a lot of customers, it's always a good idea just to get in the habit of profiling,
right,
and just double checking, like, what do these people have in common with each other? Just talking to a company yesterday. I seem to be talking to a lot of companies yesterday, but it has been a busy week. And it's just, I mean, like, their database has swollen up to 30,000, 33,000.
Yeah.
And wow, they know nothing about any of them except for revenue. And so the project gets almost unwieldy at that point as to what exactly do we do next. If you start early, it happens, because we're always thinking in terms of lookalikes. Like, what can we do with lookalikes or rhymes with? Those are nice terms to keep in mind as we move forward. Is it similar titles? Is it similar?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it has nothing to do with revenue. Sometimes it has nothing to do.
A lot of times it doesn't. Like, it's things that, like, we have a database with revenue, with employee size, we'd love it to always be those things.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's not.
Right.
We build a lot of, like, our internal scorecards for our prospects are very unusual. It requires a little bit of work, but
so don't discount certain aspects of the person you spoke to, whatever the case may be. It could be the most minor things that you think, but it could lead to some business.
And then, from there, then you have at least enough information where you can come up with a plan as to what to do, right? And then I'd say, track it somewhere. There should, if there's not 100 spreadsheets wandering around your marketing department, there should be little spreadsheets and notes everywhere of things that they're trying to track. And eventually, when you have enough of those, you can, justify the use of a system. And we can help you with that too. So that's it. So the review, the 500, we'd look inside.
Yes.
5,000, we'd go inside out. And for 50,000, we'd get belly to belly. How's that?
Right.
It's almost like you think I'd started with that, but that's what we ended up with. And that's it. Thank you. If you need to contact us, if you have questions, you can always reach us at that phone number. You can always send us an email and somebody will be in touch. And
very good.
Happy days.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.